Hi, Margaret. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Let's give it a few minutes here for people to start getting ready. I know Sammy's actually the one presenting, so she should be logging on momentarily.
Well, today's a good day for a virtual meeting. I got
Right. I know exactly. Do you have like a mohawk thing on your hoodie?
I'm a unicorn.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. Here's Sammy. Hey.
Hey.
So we got Margaret. Margaret signed up for this. We have a few more signed up, but I don't know if this happened last week when we tried to run a free webinar for we did a partnership with Plush Hair Studio in front of Glenville, and we showed up and like nobody showed up. So at least yeah, well, I felt bad because I was like, I was trying to help them, do something like this because they've never done anything like this before. And I was like, well, I guess we got nobody, but here we go. We got another one.
That's a shame. Yeah, I saw that, but I wasn't willing to commit.
Yeah, I gotcha.
I forget if it was the time.
Well, it would have been a personal training hair salon tutorial for you.
Yeah, right. Well, I went to them last year and they're very good.
Awesome. And the only other person who was signed up was Kathleen. So she told me that she has been having spotty internet. So she wasn't sure if she's going to make it or not, but I am recording this so that way we can play it back for, anyone else who wants to watch it, or if people missed it tonight. And I know I was busy shoveling out my driveway. So I was like in a frenzy to get everything fit in today, but.
I saw you guys got like 3 feet of snow.
3 feet of snow. Yeah. Well, with Sammy, what are you rubbing it in that there's no snow where you are?
There's snow, but we only have like 2 inches.
Yeah, because you didn't get whacked by this thing. That's why.
Yeah.
Yep.
But hey, we not only had a snow day today, we're gonna have another one tomorrow.
Oh, nice! I saw
get the buses dug out.
I know. I had a feeling, and I don't know if any other school districts are going to follow suit.
We were not the first.
Yeah. Kathleen made it. Wi-Fi must be working. Cool. All right, so I think we're all here. I see Kathleen's connecting, so we can get started. I'm also going to keep my eye on the wait list because we had a couple funky signups that I don't know if you guys have been savvy to what's going on with Zoom lately with the freaking hacking and people going in and spamming people. So I'm going to be keeping my eye on that. And then I'm also going to be in the chat box. So I'm going to turn things over to Sammy in a second. But if you guys have questions as Sammy's talking, I'll be put them in the chat box and I'll answer them on the fly. Or if I can't answer them, I'll make an earmark and then I'll bring that up at the end when we do a Q&A to revisit those questions. Okay, so let me first I'm going to go through. I'm going to put everybody on mute, and it's not to be rude. It's just to make sure that we don't have any background noise. Awesome. And then Sammy, why don't you take it away?
Hello. So I actually made a PowerPoint, but then I realized that my computer audio never actually lets me speak. So I'm on my phone and then my PowerPoint is here. So if I'm not looking at you guys, it's because I'm looking at the things that I'm telling you guys. But welcome to the Healthy Holiday Summer. So today we are going to cover some nutrition tips, some fitness tips, and then also some mental health tips, just kind of like an overall general health and wellness, well-being during the holidays, because it can be a super stressful time. Let me know if I'm talking too fast. Just be like, stop, slow down. So I'm going to start off with some fitness tips. The main thing is just to make sure that you're active every day. It doesn't mean working out every day. It just means not being sedentary. So like doing an active rest day, maybe going on a walk when there's not 3 feet of snow, or shoveling 3 feet of snow, or cleaning the house, or stretching, or any of those type of things. Just making sure that you're not sitting down the entire 18 hours that you're up or whatever it is. And then remembering to also take active rest days if you are working out and you're going to Girl Fight and you're doing the classes, just to really listen to your body and what it needs. Again, holidays are super stressful without COVID. So adding COVID into that just adds more stress. So just listen to your body. It will tell you what you need. If you need to sit on the couch for a day after working out and being super active for 6 days or 5 days or whatever, your body's like, no, please be a couch potato today, be a couch potato. that's fine. Next is some mental health tips. Make sure that you are de-stressing after a long day. Um, with COVID and everything, everyone's mental health is kind of like, eh. So just make sure that you're taking the time for yourself every single day, whether that's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an hour, however long that is. So you can do it by, if you have like a skincare routine that you like, that you never get to do that. Taking a bath or like a really long shower, doing some yoga, meditation, all of those types of things that will help you, watching your favorite show, like all of those things, making sure that you're taking the time for yourself every single day and putting that time aside just for you. Um, and then also making sure that you have that support system if you need them. Again, holidays are stressful during COVID. That way, if you need to talk to somebody, your support system is there to get you through whatever you need to talk through. And then we'll go through some nutrition tips. I feel like this is really quick, but that's fine. So some of you may have seen, I posted a little bit ago my healthy holidays outline. So that has not changed since I posted it. It's generally the same stuff. I added a couple of things in there. So some really nice healthy swaps that you can do is like, instead of, if you're doing a Christmas party or not, I don't know. Or if it's just like you and your spouse or you and your kids or whatever, is just to make the healthy swap. So if you're doing like dips, use Greek yogurt and avocados instead of sour cream. Do like veggie noodles instead of pasta noodles. I know some people do Italian Christmas, some people do like Chinese food for Christmas, some people do like ham for Christmas, I don't know. But just making it the healthiest version. And then I think this is also kind of for Thanksgiving, but like doing like sweet potatoes instead of mashed potatoes, just because you get all those extra antioxidants in grilling or baking fruit instead of having pies. If you're a pie person for Christmas, you can do like crock pot apples with some ice cream. That's really good with like some cinnamon and stuff. They get like super soft, really gooey. And then you can also do, I know Christmas is like a time that a lot of people do a lot of appetizers. So you could do like hummus and tzatziki instead of like cheese balls and French onion dip, or do crudité instead of charcuterie. Just like simple healthy swaps. Baking, not frying, unless it's an air fryer. I'm all for air frying. Using olive oil instead of vegetable oil or coconut oil or something like that. And then always try and do fresh or frozen if you can. Not really canner box, again, depending on the COVID situation at your local grocery store. And then swapping out bread rolls for anything that's whole grain. So I'm not saying taking away bread, just make sure that it's whole grain instead of just plain white bread. And then doing lean white meats, no dark meat, cider instead of eggnog. I mean, if you're a huge eggnog person, go for it. I am not that person. But you know, just don't drink the whole container. Everything in moderation. Also, when you're cooking, try not to add a ton of salt because there's already a lot of salt in foods. Unless you're doing fresh foods, there's not going to be a ton of salt in there, but just watch your salt when you're putting that on to season. Just use other spices. And then instead of doing like candies and cookies, do chocolate covered like nuts and fruits. And then we've got some more tips and tricks. This is mainly nutrition. Does everybody know the portion control hand gestures? You can give me a thumbs up or like a thumbs down. Yes, no, maybe. Okay. Well, I think no. Okay. So you can use your hands if you don't have measuring cups, and it's kind of really helpful for like if you were to go somewhere and you're like, oh, instead of just filling up your plate, you can kind of be like, okay, well, I really want to get my 3 cups of vegetables in or whatever it is. So your portion control hand gestures. So half a cup is, I'm like on my phone. Let me prop you up and hopefully it doesn't fall. Okay. So 1 cup is your hand. Half a cup is half of your hand. So it's like these two. Then you have an ounce is like just the palm of your hand. And then a tablespoon is the tip of your thumb, a teaspoon is the tip of your pointer finger, and then 3 ounces is the size of your palm. And then like a cup of leafy green vegetables is this. So you can kind of use those, especially because if you're a person that likes to measure your food, or if you just kind of want to know what you're eating, it's just easier to use your hands because they're always on you. And then more tips and tricks, yes. So choose your splurges, everything in moderation. So don't go all out the whole time because your stomach will probably hurt later. Make sure that your plate is super colorful. If you can, try not to have like browns and whites. Try to have, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, maybe purple, depending on, not everybody does purple cabbage. There's not really anything else that's purple. Maybe like some form of a carrot, I think is purple, or a potato, one of those. Not everybody does that. So blue/purple, eat some blueberries. And then choosing clear liquids. So water, if you're gonna drink vodka, gin, clear rum, club soda, seltzer water, tonic water. Anything that's clear is gonna be less calories than anything that is darker. And it's gonna have less sugar in it than anything that is darker. Because like beer and cider and like all your darker liquors have a lot more sugar because a lot of them are a little bit sweeter. But these things are not. So another thing, don't skip any meals on the holidays. Eat regularly throughout the whole day. That way you're not overindulging on your one singular meal. Unless you are already doing intermittent fasting, then continue with your intermittent fasting. If you're eating like a regular 3 meals a day, 4 snacks, whatever it is, just keep doing that. It's just a normal meal. So don't hype it up to anything more than that. Like we like to, but don't do it. Eat until you're satisfied, not super full. So like as soon as your hunger cue's like, okay, I'm good. Like I'm fine. Could I eat more? Yes, but I'm good right now. Eat till then. That way you're not super stuffing yourself. And then again, you end up with a stomach ache 5 minutes later and you're like, oh, but I kind of want seconds. And you're like, no, I should not. Make sure you're eating slowly, putting your fork down in between bites, like really mindfully eating and enjoying the food that you're having. And then make sure that you're trying not to feel any guilt associated with the food because it is a holiday. So we are more likely to splurge on it. Just making sure you're not feeling any guilt toward that, or like, okay, doing the whole binge and restrict. Try not to do that. It's really easy to because we're so used to eating such big meals on those holidays, but it's better just to eat normally. Again, don't overhype the holiday. And then wait 10 minutes. So after you feel just regular old satisfied, wait 10 minutes. If you're still hungry, go up and get seconds, but wait first. Let the food actually get to your stomach and then go from there. Because you might get your second plate and then you're like, ooh, you take 2 bites and you're like, ooh, I actually don't want this anymore. But you feel bad because maybe somebody else made it and you're like, oh, well, I filled this plate and I don't want it to go to waste. So like, I'm going to eat it all. But you can also just like put that in Tupperware and take home. So keep that in mind. It's also okay to like accidentally bring your plate up way too full and you start eating and 6 bites in, you're like, actually, I'm kind of already good. That's fine. Put it in a Tupperware, bring it home. And then another thing is just to avoid anything that says diet and low fat or low anything or sugar free or whatever, because there was something else that the companies put in there to make it that way. And normally it's a chemical. If you're talking like diet, they put in a chemical or they'll put in a artificial sweetener, which is really only good if you are diabetic and can't absorb sugar the right way. And then like your low fat, they're taking away the fat, but they're adding it in sugar and salt. So in reality, it's just doing the same thing. They're just mixing up so they can put on the package low fat, low carb, but they're just putting other crap in it. So just avoid that. Try to stick to the whole foods. Try not to go on the inside aisles, go on the outside aisles of the grocery store, all that fun stuff that everybody always says. Yeah, that's about it. Any questions?
It seems like, yeah, it's a lot of good information, a lot of stuff in there. So I think like at this point we could like really address like if anybody has a specific concern or holiday, like something they're dreading, like maybe it's I'm going to my in-laws and they always send me home with 3 pounds of food and I don't want to say no, or how do I be polite? And I swear we're not going to incriminate you if you're going to a party. We're not going to say anything. It's just a matter of we want to give you guidance. But yeah, I think this is a good opportunity. Like if you guys came in with a question or are thinking about any kind of roadblocks or landmines that you see coming, like what are those things? Like you can put them in the chat if you want to say them. You can unmute yourself. I mean, we have a very small group, so I think it's a good opportunity where we can kind of customize this a little bit and address any specific questions you guys have. And I feel like this is where we play the Jeopardy theme song. And I just realized my video is off, so I'll put it back on. I actually was taking the opportunity to eat some dinner while Sammy was taking it away.
I feel like I talked really fast, so if I missed something or you missed
That's
something,
okay. I'm recording it, so we'll post it and you can actually speed down the recording so that way it'll, you can take it all in. But I think they're really good tips, Sammy. I mean, main takeaways seem to be just, not depriving yourself, not using this as an opportunity to try to maintain a strict diet, but also making smart choices where you're not going to every gathering or opportunity to just eat whatever the heck you want, So we got a question here. I know I'm going to get trapped into the busy things that need doing, wrapping, etc. So how do I make time for activity with juggling all the other holidays things? So Sammy, what's your advice for that?
So if you need to schedule your day, put it in your phone. Be like, I am taking these 15 minutes and I am going to do some random body weight exercises. Or while you're wrapping, I don't know if you have any kids, but sword fight with the wrapping paper. There's really anything to get you up and going. Doesn't matter what it is, as long as it's up. So if you are wrapping, be like, okay, one side, up, down, other side, up, down. Let me take a lap around my house real quick. Those type of things. Just something so that you're not sedentary. And it doesn't matter for how long, as long as it's something.
Yeah, and for example, today, snow plowing, or if you're shoveling, that counts. Using the snow blower. I know I have a snow blower where it takes some elbow grease to actually get it to cooperate with you. I'm going to feel that tomorrow. So just those types of opportunities can happen organically. And if those happen, that's great. But if they don't, it's a good opportunity to use some of the Sammy suggestions to kind of fit them in,
I say you can use it as your me time as well. Schedule in your 30 minutes of me time. If you have to do that, then you have to do that. I do that. I'm like, okay, I am, granted I'm not really busy right now, but when I would be like, okay, it may not be till 9:30 at night, but I'm like, here is my 30 minutes of me time before I go to bed. Or in the middle of the day, while I'm have an hour lunch break, I take 30 minutes to eat, and the other 30 minutes I take that me time to do whatever I need to do for that day.
And those of you who have a Girl Fight membership, just saying, there's this awesome class that actually Sammy led the online versions of called 10-20-30, where if you'll see the category right on the content library, you'll see the recordings there. And the class is actually structured where if you do 10 minutes, it's naturally broken every 10 minutes. So if you can only stay for 10 minutes, you can bow out after 10 minutes. If you stay for 20 minutes, you can do the 2 parts. And then if you want to stay for the whole thing, you'll actually have 3 10-minute segments of the workout. So those are really good ones to fit in, because sometimes we even if we want to do a workout, we kind of talk ourselves out of doing a 45-minute workout or an hour-long workout because we just don't feasibly have that time. But sometimes if you say, I could do anything for 10 minutes, all right, I'll pop it on and I'll bow out after 10 minutes. And chances are, once you're into it, once you're feeling good, you might be like, you know what, I'll stick around and do 5 minutes of the next one too. And before you know it, you've done the whole workout. And I think that's important too, because this time of year, it's very psychological where we like to tell ourselves we don't have the time, but in reality we do, because we find ourselves doing a Netflix binge for 2 hours at a time. It's we technically could have taken 15 minutes of that 2 hours and done something healthy for ourselves. Cool. Well, I see another question in the chat. I tend to either be good with working out or eating well. I can't seem to do both at the same time consistently. So any advice for that? What do you think, Sammy?
So that actually happens a lot. That happens a lot. A lot of people that work out do not eat well, and a lot of people that eat well don't really work out a lot. If you had to choose, eating over working out, if I'm being quite honest, because that has a lot more to do with your health than the fitness aspect. Again, though, that's also if you're not being completely sedentary while you're eating healthy. Because the fitness does have it. It also could just be that you're overwhelming your senses way too much. So like if you're constantly focused on eating well and then you're like, okay, but I want to work out 5 days a week, maybe just be like, all right, just once this week and start off very slowly. Like, okay, I'm just going to work out for half an hour or do a 20-minute HIIT class or something very short once and be like, okay. And then in a couple days goes by, maybe you're like, okay, I'm going to try another 20-minute something, or maybe not, but at least start with once a week and just see how it goes. And then just do those active rest days on the other days where you're shoveling snow or cleaning your house or just doing something that's not sedentary. And that will help a lot.
So can you speak to a little bit more, Sammy, about why you would say prioritize nutrition over physical activity?
Yes. So although physical activity is very good for your cardiovascular system, eating healthy it's like 70% of health versus the 30% of working out, because you are eating to fuel your body for everything that it does for you generally without even working out being in there. So like just running all the systems that it has to do subconsciously, that's what you're eating for. You're eating for your well-being, you're eating for your mental health. And that, to me at least, has a lot more to do with healthy than focusing on working out 5 days a week versus being just not sedentary for your 7 days of the week. So there's a difference between like working out and your active rest day. So it's just, I wouldn't really say like you don't have to go hard every single day. You only have to not be sedentary every single day. So as long as you're not sitting on your butt 24/7, you're good. Hopefully that answered it. I went all over the place there.
Well, no, it's good. So basically, like you said, nutrition is like 70% of when we talk about health. And I know one thing that really hit a chord with me is I saw this, I don't know if it's still on YouTube, if you look up pizza versus treadmill, it's basically a video where it shows a guy on a treadmill running full force, like full sprint. And then next to him, a guy with a big pizza box sitting and eating a pizza. And they have calorie counts where they're showing on the treadmill how many calories he's burning at that effort, and then how quickly the guy eating the pizza is adding those calories. So you can really do a lot of damage with a little food if it's the wrong type of food or too much of the right type of food. But you can do it within a few minutes. Like I think he had 300 calories consumed in like under 5 minutes. And then the other guy was only at like 80 calories within that time burned. So it kind of shows that you get a lot more bang for your buck in terms of just calories alone. And then like Sammy said, there's so many more nutritional benefits to what you put in your body. It's food as medicine, that's how you get your energy. That's how you feel good and where you're getting your vitamins and your nutrients from, Cool. So what other questions do you guys have? This is like a prime opportunity to pick the brain of a nutritional expert like Sammy. like a small group personal training session right now.
Don't forget to hydrate.
There you go. Hydration, very important.
Don't forget 100 ounces a day, everybody.
So Sam, let's touch on that for a second. So what do you think are some hydration tips? Like, because I know when I talk to people, a common question I hear is that it's very difficult to fit in that much water during the course of the day, or even half as much water. So what are some tips that people can use throughout the day to hydrate better?
Drink through a straw. You drink a lot more water through a straw than you do any other type of water. Also, I don't know if anyone else notices this, but if you drink, I have glass straws, except for obviously that one because it came with the cup, but I use glass straws because something about drinking water out of a glass hits really different than drinking it out of a plastic water bottle. It just seems more crisp and more flavorful coming out of something that is glass, and it makes it taste better. So if you're like a person that finds water super boring, that's helpful, or adding fruit to it is also helpful. Or any type of like natural flavoring, not like Crystal Light or the Mio squeezes, not those, because that's just sugar and or artificial sugar and dye. So you don't want that stuff. And I'd rather it be just like fresh, muddle up some frozen strawberries or something, pretend like you're making a mixed drink, pour it in your water. But that will help. Also, don't even attempt to measure it, because then you're going to get way too into the numbers in your head. And then that will just put a detriment on like, oh crap, I didn't get my 100 ounces. And it kind of like makes you feel bad, even though it shouldn't. So don't get too into the numbers. Just continuously drink water throughout the day, and make sure you have either the gallon water bottle, or like I have like a 24-ounce glass and I just fill that up a couple times. And I know if I at least get to fill that up 3 times, then I'm like, oh, okay, I got close to what I wanted to. More than likely you'll drink more than that. The worst part is that you just have to pee all the time. But your bladder gets used to it after a while. And then if you revert, so say you're doing really well and you drink a lot of water for like a month, and then you miss like a day, it resets. So you got to do that thing all over again and like strengthen your bladder again. Cause it's like, no, I forgot. So that's the only downfall. But
Margaret had a really good question about the type of water. So about club soda or sparkling water, is it as good as drinking tap water? What's your take on that?
I'm fine with it as long as only carbonation, as long as they're like, if you read it, if it just says water or carbonated water, and maybe it says like fruit juice, or honestly, if it says artificial flavor, fine. But as long as if you look at the nutrition label, it says zeros all across the board. So like 0 sugar, just make sure when you go to the ingredients, sometimes they'll sneak in an artificial sugar in there. So just make sure that that isn't on the ingredients. It should just have like 2 ingredients, which would be, if it's just plain, it should just be carbonated water. It might have, because I know some carbonated water, they might put in like certain minerals. So like that would be fine. But check on if they put any artificial sugars in it. But other than that, that's fine. Because it is just carbonated water. So like, that's fine for me.
I know for me, getting off sodas, seltzer was a huge help with that. And they have Polar Seltzer has so many different flavors. They have holiday flavors now in the 1 liters and stuff. You can get really creative with them. Cool. These are great questions, ladies. So what other questions you guys got? What else? Anything else that you can think of? It doesn't necessarily have to be holiday related either. It can be really anything nutrition wise, because that bleeds into the holidays as well. Everybody's like tapped out. It's all good. Well, hopefully you guys got some awesome information out of this. Sammy is a wealth of information. So if you have follow-up questions or think of something that she missed, you can plunk them in the members only group on Facebook and tag Sammy in it, or tag me and I'll get the message to Sammy so she can answer it. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us tonight. And thank you, Sammy, for sharing all this info. It's fantastic.
I wish I had more, but there really isn't that much.
It's the basics, because it does get to the point where you overwhelm people. If you like spew too much information, it gets overwhelming. It's good to keep things simple. And I think you touched on some really helpful tips that everybody could, even if you use 1 or 2 this holiday season, it's going to be better than not having them, you know? Cool. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, ladies. Have a fantastic evening, and we'll see you soon.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Bye.
Bye, Kathleen.